And I'd just like to share a couple of examples of how to get it right. And the first one is something you'll probably be familiar with. Who loves meerkats? Who hates meerkats? Who's sick to death of the sight of meerkats? I often cite this as a case study just because, to me, this is still the single best example of a fully integrated marketing strategy working across multiple marketing channels that I've ever seen. I still haven't seen anything better than this in terms of its impact and in terms of its reach. 2008, this ad campaign was launched 7 years ago, which is a lifetime, really. And it was a fully integrated campaign that used both traditional media, think billboard adverts, TV adverts, digital media, email, social media, had huge exposure on social media, despite the fact that Facebook was only 4 years old at the time, Twitter was only 2 years old. But it got enormous traction by having this fantastically personal, likable, shareable content. In a stroke of absolute genius, they also just won the search engine wars at a stroke. The way, I don't know if you're all familiar with Google AdWords and paid search, and basically if you don't know, you have to bid for certain keywords to get your results up at the top. Chances are your competitors are bidding for those keywords as well. They knew, and I think at the time, compared the market was like third or fourth or fifth in the marketplace, they knew that bidding on search terms like insurance or comparison sites or market or anything like that was going to be ridiculously expensive if they were going to get ahead of their customers. On the other hand, who has ever searched for meerkat? There's probably somewhere in South Africa there might be a meerkat sanctuary or something that wanted to keep their results at the top. But bottom line is it cost peanuts. They could get exactly the same search visibility and search results by focusing their efforts on the keyword meerkat, building a dummy site which allowed you to compare the meerkat, which is still going. And they even have generated a new revenue stream and have entered the soft toy market. The results of this way back then is they achieved 12 months results in 9 weeks, 73% lower cost per incoming lead, thanks to their clever use of search and their clever use of social media, and 83% increase in volume of business. And the campaign's still going, and it's still extending. Where I think last year they started sponsoring Coronation Street. Personally, I think it's probably run its course, and it might be time for a rebrand and a bit of a rethink about their creative, but you can't argue with the results. Now, chances are that none of you are running businesses on the scale of that, and chances are none of you have got the budgets for that. But I'd like to share an example of a company based down in Stockton-on-Tees that have got it right on an absolutely tiny budget by doing it all themselves. And I'd just like to say I've got no relationship with this company at all, other than that I once bought a coffee from them and a sandwich, and I was at a business awards event where they were one of the prize winners. And what they've done very effectively is created a lot of local buzz, a lot of local news. They've been very active in the local community. They've been engaging with the local news outlets, but they've been engaging in the local community, bringing people on board. And if you look on this is just, if you do a search on them, this gives you some great examples of what they're getting right. So they've got a very good website. They've got Google Places so that their location appears on Google Maps. Oh, there you go. They've got 5-star rated Facebook page, which also appears right up there. Their Twitter feed appears up there. Their YouTube channel appears up there with video. I'll come on to this in a little bit, but that's something that you really need to be thinking about for your business as well. And they've got some great local news stories about getting the local X Factor personality to come and open the cafe. They spent virtually nothing on this. And the other bit of genius idea that they had, which I just loved, is because they didn't have an advertising budget and they knew it, they thought, well, how can we get our brand out there? What they did have was branded coffee mugs. So they started an offer whereby the local cab drivers could go in the morning and get a free cup of coffee, knowing that those cabbies would be driving around with the coffee mug in the cab for the rest of the morning. So instant bit of free advertising, getting the brand name out there, also created a huge amount of goodwill amongst those cabbies and turned them into advocates and ambassadors for the brand, who were far more likely to recommend the Stotty company to their passengers. Absolutely brilliant idea that really cost what they spent in coffee and keeping the cabbies hydrated and alert. Absolutely brilliant campaign. And it just shows you that if all else fails, a little creativity goes a very, very long way.